Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inshallah, we can sit down, inshallah. Better to be closer to me a little bit because I have a little sore throat at the moment. MashaAllah, happy to see you all. Assalamu alaikum. MashaAllah. Oh, yeah. MashaAllah. You probably know the history that I started the Juma Salat here way back in 1979 in Petshwood and was working for the company which was in Hallwood here, which is not too far from this road. So every day I used to go past this church. Allah Ta'ala has now, mashallah, brought the results and the Muslim community is developing, inshallah. I'm just here, we have a conference in Yorkshire where a lot of great scholars are there for this weekend from Europe and America, Canada. So we're participating in that. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wa salatu wa salamu ala Sayyidil Mursaleen wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اعلموا أنما الحياة الدنيا لعب ولهو وزينة وتفاخر بينكم وتكاثر في الأموال والأولاد كمثل غيث أعجب الكفار نباته ثم يهيج فتراه مصفرا ثم يكون حطاما وفي الآخرة عذاب شديد ومغفرة من الله ورضوان وما الحياة الدنيا إلا متاع الغرور وقال الله تعالى ومن أعرض عن ذكري فإن له معيشة ضنكا ونحشره يوم القيامة أعمى قال رب لما حشرتني أعمى وقد كنت بصيرا قال كذلك أتتك آياتنا فنسيتها وكذلك اليوم تنسى وقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم كن في الدنيا كأنك غريب أو عابر سبيل وعن ابن عمر رضي الله تعالى عنه قال إذا أمسيت فلا تنتظر الصباح وإذا أصبحت فلا تنتظر المساء وخذ من صحتك لمرضك ومن حياتك لموتك أو كما قال إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير خلقه وآله وأصحابه وأهل بيته وعترته وبارك وسلم تسليما كثيرا كثيرا. Respected brothers and sisters and my dearest children, This life Allah has given us, although it's very temporary, but it is very precious. Because the entire life which is coming after depends on this life, how we live this life. So it cannot be ignored. It will be very foolish of a person to ignore this life. Okay, everyone can hear me. These gadgets are always giving problem. You can't rely on them. So, we cannot ignore this life. We have to pass through, whether we like it or not. Because after passing through this life, the next life starts. And the success and failure of that life depends on how we live here. Allah has sent us. Allah Ta'ala in the Quran is saying, Tabarakalladhi biyadihil mulk. Glorified is the personality of Allah Ta'ala who is the owner. Everything belongs to him. Biyadihil mulk. And he is very powerful. وَهُوَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٌ. الَّذِي خَلَقَ الْمَوْتَ وَالْحَيَاةَ. He is the one who has created this system of life and death. Why? الَّذِي خَلَقَ الْمَوْتَ وَالْحَيَاةَ لِيَبْلُوَكُمْ أَيُّكُمْ أَحْسَنُ عَمَلًا. So that he can test you. Who comes back at the end of the day with the right actions? The test. You know, it's like a person who is in a boat going through he has to cross the river. The only way to cross the river is this boat. No other way. So the first rule is that when he is trying to cross, he has to make sure that the water does not come inside in the boat. That's the first rule. If the water comes inside, it will be disaster. So in the same way, we have to cross this dunya. And the first rule is that this love of this dunya does not enter our heart. The first rule. And Allah Ta'ala, has described in the Quran the phases a person goes through in this life. The phases we are going through now, and the phases which people went through 5,000 years ago, and the phases which people will go through 1,000 years from now, if this dunya remains until then. It's all the same. Challenges and the phases are all the same. And Allah has described that in Surah Hadid. I'lamu, Allah says, be warned, be cautious, be aware. I'lamu, annama al-hayatu dunya. This dunya, how is going to, these are the phases a person goes through. لعب ولهو وزينة وتفاخر بينكم وتكاثر في الأموال والأولاد. We should not think that people who came 2000 years ago, they had some other ways. Maybe they did not have the technology we have, but they also went through these phases. Human nature, human characteristics remain. Because it's a test Allah is going to take as student. But the way it starts, Allah has also described how Allah Ta'ala brings a human being into this dunya, first of all. Allah has created a system. With His qudrat and power, Allah first creates the human being. وَلَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ مِنْ سُلَالَةٍ مِنْ طِينٍ ثُمَّ جَعَلْنَاهُ نُطْفَةً فِي قَرَارٍ مَكِينٍ ثم خلقنا النطفة علقة فخلقنا العلقة مضغة فخلقنا المضغة عظاما فكسونا العظام لحما ثم أنشأناه خلقا آخر فتبارك الله أحسن. The human, who are we? A drop of water. And it's only Allah Ta'ala who can do this. How Allah Ta'ala in complete darkness creates this physical structure of this human being. With what? Water, drop of water. This is why in another ayat Allah Ta'ala is saying, هُوَ الَّذِي خَلَقَ مِنَ الْمَاءِ. It is only Allah who created the human with a drop of water. Those who know the Arabic, they will. Allah is not saying Allazi. Allah is saying who? Who Allah? It's only Allah who can do this with His power. That with a drop of water, Allah creates such wonderful faces. Beautiful faces all over us. Allah has scattered them. And everyone is different from the other. Everyone individually has their own recognition. Allah has created. Why? Because in the day of judgment, everyone will be treated separately also. And everyone will have to give the account separately. وَالَّذِي خَلَقَ مِنَ الْمَاءِ بَشَرًا فَجَعَلَهُ نَسَبًا وَسِحْرًا وَكَانَ رَبُّكَ قَدِيرًا. And then after creating them, Allah Ta'ala created the two systems. The first system of sihr, marriage. That people who are scattered, Allah brings them together. Two khandan, two families come together. A person living in England, he marries someone in Australia, so now all the relations from here to Australia created. New relations, new relatives come into existence. And the second, the family system. Uncles, aunties. In the first, from the marriage, new relations are created. Father-in-law, mother-in-law, daughter-in-law, sister-in-law, and so many people they didn't know each other, now they are together. And then now we have to live together in this life. So Allah is saying, أَنَّمَا الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا لَعِبٌ وَلَهْبٌ. The beginning is just a game. When the baby is born, everything is a game for the baby. You give the toy, it will become happy. You snatch it away, it will cry. That's the first stage. Maulana Rome has written a hikayat. He says that if somehow we manage to communicate with the baby inside the womb of the mother. Maybe technology, as the way it's moving at the moment, he said that a long time ago. Somehow if we manage to communicate and we try to inform this baby, look, where are you? You're stuck in this small place. You can't even move around. And the food you are eating is all dirt and blood. However, there is a bigger place. If you come here, you will find that everything will be 10 times, a million times bigger. And you will have a lot of luxuries and comfort and everything. So this baby says, no. I'm very happy here. So don't worry. I'm okay. And so when the baby is born, you will find that every baby comes into this dunya crying, he says. In fact, if it doesn't cry, the doctors are worried. There's something wrong. Why? Because the baby feels that the entire world has been snatched from the baby, been taken away from. Comes in. But then when it comes in here, then sees the difference. In the same way, when we will leave this dunya, there is another world, which we cannot understand, like this baby. We have to rely on the news which our beloved Prophet Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam given. It's going to happen. So they start off laibun wa lahwun, and then as the baby grows, become 10, 12-year-old, then what happens? You will find, whether it's a girl or a boy, start standing in front of the mirror. Now I have to look smart. I have to try and, before that it just came and play. Then as it grows, wazinatun. He wants to make sure that he looks smart. And as they grow, the parents are also proud. Start comparing each other. My son has done 11 GCSE. And all, A stars. وَتَفَاخُرٌ بَيْنَكُمْ. We start comparing. This is human nature Allah is describing. This is how it happens. This is how it had happened in the past also. We need to understand. We start comparing each other. Oh, my son has gone to Harvard University and he's got a degree from there. And my son has studied in Oxford. He has 1 degree from Oxford and 1 degree from Cambridge. We start comparing each other. So Allah is saying. This life system is such, Allah is now giving example. كَمَثَلِ غَيْثٍ أَعْجَبَ الْكُفَّارَ نَبَاتُهُ. It's like a barren land. There is nothing there. And then a person makes effort on this barren land. And then makes it fertile. To plant seeds. And these seeds, they tear the earth. And a very tiny, delicate, what do you call that, shoot comes out. It's so delicate that if you touch it, it will disintegrate. This is the qudrat of Allah. This is how Allah is using the analogy of this human life. Baby is so delicate. When my granddaughter was born, I could sit there and for hours just to look at her. And you feel pleasure and joy. And how delicate, they can't do anything. Helpless, totally helpless. The same way, Allah is saying, shoot comes out. And then the shoot becomes a stem. And then leaf starts coming. And from the leaves, then the birds start coming to this. And from the birds, it changes into flower. And from flower, it changes into fruits. This is how human life grows. ثُمَّ يَهِيجُ فَتَرَاهُ مُصْفَرًّا ثُمَّ يَكُونُ حُطَامًا. And then it gives fruit and then winter comes. What happens in winter? It goes back to, I live in Canada, so we get minus 20 weather. All the trees which are so beautiful at the moment, greenery everywhere, fruits everywhere, but then all of a sudden it all disintegrates, goes back. This is how the human life is also going to happen. ثُمَّ يَكُونُ حُطَامًا. And then at the end of this ayat, Allah Ta'ala is saying, remember, وَمَا الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا إِلَّا مَتَاعُ الْغُرُورِ. This dunya is nothing but a big deception and a big trap. Don't fall into the trap. And the best way for that is that make sure the love of dunya does not enter the heart. That's the first rule. We're saying core values. People would say, oh, we should perform salat, we should do this, we should do fasting, we should do tilawat of Quran and all this. But the bottom line is, first of all, we have to look at. We should not allow the love of this dunya enter the heart. That's the first rule in life. And the second rule is that we have to remember all the time that we have to leave one day. I'm not going to remain here. Because a person who thinks that he will be here forever, you start planning. A student came here from India. We went to his house after 3 months because his father wrote to me and he said, my son is there for studies. So I went there. So I found in his room, he had a small apartment and hardly anything in the apartment. Couple of cups, 2 spoons, couple of plates. So I said to him, have you settled down? He said, uncle, I'm only here for 2 years for my studies. But then I have to go back. So I decided not to waste my money on unnecessary things. However, you see these boxes, I'm buying things, some food mixers and all these things, so that I can take them back after 2 years. They will be very useful for me when I get back. This clever person. He understands that. And that's the way we have to understand this dunya. That's the way we have to look at ourselves. So where do we stand? Are we doing long-term plan or here in this dunya? We're going to remain here forever? That's why Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the hadith is saying, "Kun fi dunya ka'annaka gharib or abiru sabil." Live in this dunya as a traveler. You are traveling. This is not your destination. Destination is somewhere else. So as long as a person who lives in this dunya and he lives 100 years, 200 years, whatever life he lives, as long as he remembers these rules. First, that I'm only here temporarily. I don't know my date of death. I only know my date of birth. Is there anyone who knows his date of death? However, I know that it's going to happen. So before we make the plan of how we have to live in this life, the first thing is we have to get this perspective right. I'm only here temporarily. Everything is going to end. And then I have to stand in front of Allah Ta'ala. So I have to make sure I take those things with me which will be useful for me in the hereafter. And then I make the plan. Maulana Rome, who is a great philosopher, he has given some golden rules of how to live in this life. And he says that, take this dunya day by day. Don't make, 5 years plans, as we all have. Next year I'm going to get my degree, and then after the degree I'm going to get a decent job, and after the job I'll get married. And then, within 5 years I will buy a house, and we will have children. All planning is there. Everyone has that plan. Whereas, pal ki khabar nahi. No one knows. Do we have any guarantee? Everyone has this plan. Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is saying, قُلْ مَتَاعُ الدُّنْيَا قَلِيلٌ وَالْآخِرَةُ خَيْرٌ لِمَنِ اتَّقَى وَلَا تُظْلَمُونَ فَتِيلًا. So we all, because it's the way of the world, everyone is. So that's why we have to look into ourselves. He says that make the plan day to day. And he has broken down every day what you have to do. He says, when you get up in the morning, talk to yourself and say, Saeed, I'm going to make an agreement today with you. Today I'm making an agreement. The first thing he says is make mu'ayda. Mu'ayda, agreement. What is the agreement? How I'm going to spend these 24 hours. And the way I'm going to spend it is according to the order of Allah in the sunnat way of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Because these are both guaranteed by Allah Ta'ala. Allah Ta'ala has put the seal. Right? Allah Ta'ala in the Quran has said, قُلْ إِن كُنْتُمْ تُحِبُّونَ اللَّهَ. O Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, tell them, if you claim you love Allah, فَاتَّبِعُونِي. Then you have to do the ittiba of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So these are the two criteria in this life of success. Order of Allah, the sunnah. So we make agreement in the morning that everything I will do today, I am going to follow the orders of Allah and follow the sunnah way of Rasulullah. Whether I'm eating, sleeping, working, taking care of my kids, going and meet other people, whatever am I. Every way has been defined by Rasulullah. The whole complete Islam is with us. So I'm going to follow, make a mu'ayda, agreement. And then you start your life in the morning. And every action you are about to do, the second thing he says, that before you do that action, make a muraqabah. First the mu'ayda, and then muraqabah. Muraqabah means, you recall. You made the agreement, Saeed. Remember that you will do according to the order of Allah in the sunnat way. Now you are about to do this thing. Make sure you do this. Mu'ayda, muraqabah. And each action we start doing during the day, we remind ourselves. Reminder. Muraqabah is to remind. Day by day. Take every action as it comes and remind yourself that now I have to do this. Now I'm eating. Now I'm going out. What is the sunnat way? What is the sunnat of eating? Now I'm working. What is the sunnat way? Now I'm traveling in my car. What is the sunnat way? Now I'm going to visit a person in the hospital. What is the sunnat way? Now I'm going to meet my relatives. What is the sunnat way? In every aspect. It's defined. So day by day we take this in the morning, we start the day. And then by the whole day, once we reach the end, then the next thing is very important. We do muhasabah. Remember these golden rules. Mu'ayda, muraqabah, and now muhasabah, accountability, taking accounts. Mutu qabla an tamutu. There's a saying in Arabic that take account of yourself. The actual wording is die before you die. That means take account of yourself before you stand in front of Allah Ta'ala. So there you'll have to be. You will line up there. So, muhasabah. I made agreement this morning that I will do everything according to the order of Allah in the sunnah of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Did I do it properly? You will see. Yes, this thing I did right, this thing I did right, but this thing I made a mistake. You will work out those things which you have done and Allah gave you the ability, we thank Allah. And those things which we haven't done, now the next stage is very important. That's where we fail. Now we do mu'aqabah, punishment. We have to punish ourselves. And that is important because if you don't do it, dangers are ahead if we leave this world. So we punish ourselves. That, I made 3 mistakes today. I didn't follow the rule. So we set a penalty. What is the best penalty for a human? Human self-desires and temptations are inside. The last thing a human wants is to do ibadat. The most difficult thing for a person is to do ibadat. We force ourselves. Unless, of course, we have reached that level. So, we said, 3 mistakes, I'm going to perform 8 rakat salat for every mistake. So 3 mistakes mean 24 rakat before you sleep. This waqaba is really important. And if you do this even for one day, you will never make those three mistakes again. Remember that. In fact, there is a story. This elderly person, he was very punctual in performing the Qiyamul Layl, Tahajjud Salat, every night. And one day he didn't get up. He missed it. So he cried and did istighfar and repentance so much throughout the day that, I've missed my tahajjud. So much so that Allah Ta'ala gave him 10 times more reward for doing the repentance. So next night when he went to sleep, someone woke him up in the middle of the night. Who is this? He says, Shaitan. I'm Shaitan, but I think you should get up for tahajjud. You're waking me for tahajjud? He said, yeah, because yesterday, the reward you got, I can't afford that. When we will put some penalty for every mistakes we make in life as we move on this world, then, we will not be making these mistakes. We will try. So this is basically the rule he has said. This is how we live our life. And we have to understand, what are we looking for? Everyone is, according to their ability, is running today in this dunya. What are we after? Right? The question is, what are we after in this life? Huh? What's your name? Huh? What are you after? What do you want? Why are we doing these degrees and this and that and all? Huh? Success. Okay. So what is this success? Is it something tangible which you can buy in the market? What is this success? Everyone is running after it. In Urdu there is a phrase, it says, Bhed Chal. Those who understand Urdu, Bhed Chal. Bhed Chal means a sheep runs and all the sheep behind there also run behind it. If you ask those sheep in the back, why are you running? They say, because the front one is running. Oh, here also. Everyone is running. Success. But what is this success? What are we after? A young man, he found that this old man has developed the formula of how to make gold. Alchemist. So he said, well, if I find this old man, I can learn the formula from him. And my life will be successful. So he went searching for him and found him. But this old man was very wise. He came, he said, I found out you have the formula how to make gold. He said, yes, I have the formula. So he said, can you teach me the formula? So he asked him, why do you want gold? He said, because if I have gold, I will have lots of money. Right? So he said, then that means you don't want gold. You want lots of money. Why do you want lots of money? He said, because with lots of money, I can buy lots of things. So he said, then you don't want lots of money. You want lots of things. Why do you want lots of things? He said, so that I can live a comfortable and pleasurable life. So he said, then you don't want a lot of things. You want comfort and pleasure. So he said, why do you want lots of, no, why do you want comfort and pleasure? He said, so that I can be successful. So this old man said to him, why do you want to go through this long route of getting to success? Shall I not teach you how to get directly to the success? Instead of going through gold, money, lots of things, lots of comfortable things, and then in the end you arrive to this. Why you want to waste your time? I can teach you a formula where you can go directly to the first thing. And then he asked me, what is this success? Is it something you can buy in the market or something? You know, we have to look at. So the reality is that success is actually a feeling which develops in the heart of a person. That's all it is. It's just a feeling. A feeling of contentment. That's what it is. And Allah Ta'ala in the Quran is giving that to us in a nutshell. Allah is saying, Ala bi dhikrillahi tatma'innul qulub. Very easy formula. That if you in this 24 hours remember me, I will give you peace of mind and peace of heart and contentment. All you have to do is remember Allah all the time. Conscious. Conscious that Allah is there. That's easy formula. A person who is conscious that Allah is there, he will not make many mistakes. And then Allah Ta'ala, our Creator, is saying that if you don't remember me in this life, in this 24 hours, if you don't remember me, then I'm going to make your life miserable. Allah says. I will make your life miserable. Because I've sent you here to make sure you remember me all the time. وَمَنْ أَعْرَضَ عَنْ ذِكْرِي. If you don't remember me, فَإِنَّ لَهُ مَعِيشَةً ضَنْكَ. Then I will make your life مَعِيشَةً ضَنْكَ. You know, English is very poor to translate these words in Arabic. What is مَعِيشَةً ضَنْكَ? That a person has one problem and he's struggling to solve this problem. Then by the time he thinks that he has almost solved this problem, he gets a second problem. Now he has two problems to solve. And he now struggles to solve these two problems. Then the third one comes. Then the fourth one comes. Then the fifth one comes. And now he's surrounded by problems all around. This is Ma'ishatan Danka. Allah is saying, I will make your life miserable. You will not know what to do in this dunya. And then in the day of judgment, Allah is saying, وَنَحْشُرُهُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ أَعْمَى. And in the day of judgment, I will raise you blind. And this person will say to Allah, قَالَ رَبِّ لِمَا حَشَرْتَنِي أَعْمَى وَقَدْ كُنْتُ بَصِيرًا. Oh Allah, why have you made me blind? I was able to see in this dunya. Huh? Allah Ta'ala will inform him. قَالَ كَذَلِكَ أَتَتْكَ آيَاتُنَا فَنَسِيتَهَا. That we reminded you again and again, but you ignored us. وَكَذَلِكَ الْيَوْمَ تُنْسَى. And so today we will ignore you. How much time we have? Abhi hai na? 10:45, yeah, so inshallah. So, وَكَذَلِكَ الْيَوْمَ تُنْسَى. You will be ignored. This is the life. So the message is, first of all, consider this dunya, this life, a journey. We are travelers. We are, and secondly, make sure the love of this dunya does not enter our heart. We will not take anything with us from this dunya. Everyone. Everything will be left behind. Has anyone taken anything? The only thing you are going to take with you is what is inside you, your actions. And then Allah Ta'ala will line you up in the day of judgment. Every single person. No exceptions to this rule. وَعُرِضُوا Surah Kahf Allah is describing. وَعُرِضُوا عَلَىٰ رَبِّكَ صَفًّا We will line you up in the day of judgment. All the people. لَقَدْ جِئْتُمُونَا كَمَا خَلَقْنَاكُمْ أَوَّلَ مَرَّةٍ بَلْ زَعَمْتُمْ أَن لَّن نَّجْعَلَ مَوْعِدًا. And then after that, Allah Ta'ala is going to hand you your book of deeds. وَوُضِيَ الْكِتَابِ The book of deeds will be given. And a person will look at this, be astonished. What is this? وَتَرَى الْمُجْرِمِينَ مُشْفِقِينَ مِمَّا فِيهِ وَيَقُولُونَ يَا وَيْلَتَنَا when the book will be given to him, a person, he will look at it and he will be astonished. Like, when we are astonished, what do we say? Oh my gosh! Such words are there. Oh my gosh, what is this? This is how Allah is describing. وَيَقُولُونَ يَا وَيْلَتَنَا مَا لِهَذَا الْكِتَابِ Oh my gosh, what is this book? لا يغادر صغيرة ولا كبيرة إلا عصاها. Everything which I have done in my life, whether big or small, is accounted here. Everything is there. Every action we have done in this life, it will be recorded. Allah is saying. Allah is saying, مَا يَلْفِظُ مِنْ قَوْلٍ إِلَّا لَدَيْهِ رَقِيبٌ عَتِيدٌ A person does not say a single word from his mouth, but there is someone recording it. This entire record will be presented to us in the day. Every one of us. That's why Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he used to make dua. Allahumma hasibni hisaban yasira. This dunya, Allah make this hisab, this accountability in the day of judgment, make it easy for me. Allahumma hasibni hisaban yasira. Allahumma inna nasaluka husnul khatima. Oh Allah, when I leave, this one elder said that when a person arrives, he is crying in this dunya. When he leaves, he should be smiling. Now we shall have to. This is the temporary life. That when we come as a baby, we are crying, but when we are leaving everyone crying except for us. Everyone cries when the person dies. Huh? And everyone is worried. Khalil's father just a few years ago passed away. All the family is surrounded. And they're trying their best to save him. Allah is describing. Bring the best doctor, bring the best magician, whoever we can, to save this person. But no, we have to leave this life. So respected brothers, the message is, core value, 5 times salat, ibadat, zakat, all these things are the secondary level. But the main thing is that every second we spend in this life, we remember Allah. That's what you have to reach. And that can only be acquired if you spend time in the environment. If you spend in your time in the environment where you are remembering, the other thing is dollar. So we have to look at in my heart, what is there? Is Allah is there or the dollar is there? How can we test it? If you lose your one salat, how you feel about it? And if you lose 20 pounds from your pocket, how do you feel about it? You can test yourself very easily. 20 pounds lost, we will start going around telling everyone, I've lost my 20 pounds. Have you seen it? Has anyone ever cried or worried that he missed one salat with Jamaat? Big thing. So that's the difference we have to create in this life, first of all. Allah Ta'ala has surrounded us with two things. One, huququllah, the other, huququl ibad. Both things are there. And these are the two things which Allah Ta'ala is going to look at. So respected brothers and sisters, may Allah Ta'ala give us the ability, because we all have to go. Let us not fall into the trap. Allah is saying it's a trap. So keep it as that. All the time remind yourself it's a trap. And the trap is such that it's like quicksand. Dal. It's quicksand. You know, once you are in it, you can't come out. The trap of dunya is such that if you fall into it, you will never be able to come out. What is the best way of coming out of a quicksand? Can anyone, no matter how much you try, you will go further deep. What's the best way of coming out of a quicksand? Huh? Is anyone know? Huh? Huh? Pick up yourself. But there's no one around. You have to find someone who is outside to help you. And that someone is our beloved Prophet, life, Muhammadur Rasulullah. No rope will work. The life of Rasulullah is the only thing that can help us from this trap. Allah is reminding us again and again. In many places. Kullu nafsin dha'iqatul maut. Everyone has to taste death. وَإِنَّمَا تُوَفَّوْنَ أُجُورَكُمْ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ. Then you will be made to stand up in front of Allah Ta'ala. فَمَنْ زُغْزِيَ عَنِ النَّارِ وَأُدْخِلَ الْجَنَّةَ فَقَدْ فَازَ. A person who has been saved from the hellfire and who has entered Jannat is successful. And then after that, what Allah is saying? وَمَا الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا إِلَّا مَتَاعُ الْغُرُورِ. Remember, this world is a big deception and trap. Many places. So as long as we all the time, 24-hour, remind ourselves and take it day by day, as I mentioned, we work and remind ourselves, remember Allah all the time. Akbar Ilhabadi, he was a big poet in India from Allahabad. Urdu mein usne, how many people speak Urdu hai? I understand. Right. Very few now. He said, वो कहते हैं, तुम शौक से कॉलेज में पढ़ो, पार्क में फूलो, जायज है गुबारों में उड़ो, चरख में झूलो, बस एक सकून बंद है आजिज का रहे याद, अल्लाह को और अपनी हकीकत को न भूलो. No. Progress in life. Reach the sky of success. And enjoy yourself. But one thing I want you to remember that don't forget Allah and don't forget your reality. As long as you don't forget Allah and you don't forget reality, your reality, you will succeed. May Allah give us, inshallah. So, this is where I end my talk, but inshallah, if there's any questions, we have a little bit of time, then we can take the questions before we do the Isha Salat, inshallah. Yes. I hope, inshallah, that we will follow this golden rules.
Cool. Can you hear me? Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for your talk and beautiful words. It's always a pleasure. For some reason, it always feels like a bedtime story. I said earlier on a message that it's like you're everyone's granddad, and I honestly believe that. So my question actually was, you mentioned the technical point of one misery after another if you forget Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It sounded like compound interest, like one comes and more comes and more comes. So if you do remember Allah, is there compound reward as well? Does he compound your reward as well?
Yeah, compound, the reward is so tremendous that if it is open in front of us in this dunya, our heart will explode and we'll die of joy. It's like a person, if a person is remembering Allah and following the rules, then yes, it is multiplied so many times that we cannot describe. Allah Ta'ala is saying, you do little for me, I will give you more. Allah is looking for excuses to give us. The poet has said that Allah ki deen ka Musa se पूछिए हाल, आग लेने को गए पैगंबरी मिल गई. Ask Musa alayhi salam the way Allah gives, that he was looking for fire, and Allah gave him the prophethood. So in this dunya, Allah is waiting for us. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in one hadith has said that if the sins and mistakes of a person are so many that it covers the space between the heaven and the earth. He has made so many mistakes in life. Don't worry. And this person only once turns to Allah and says, oh Allah, forgive me. Just these 3 words. Allah will forgive all his sins. Entire. This is how Allah gives. Allah is waiting that when my slave will come to me. And the generosity of Allah we cannot imagine. You do little and Allah will. Does that answer your questions?
Subhanallah.
Yes. Any other questions, inshallah? So, also as I mentioned, making mistakes, don't worry about that. Because it's built into our system. Our forefathers, they made mistakes. And that is not what Allah looks at. Allah looks at what happens after you make the mistake. Do you come back? And that coming back is just few words. In fact, we should all, before sleeping, sincerely say these words. Oh Allah, forgive me for all the mistakes I have made today. Allah will forgive you. Allah Ta'ala is so generous. We will not be able to take from Allah Ta'ala. Allah is ready to give so much. Inshallah. Yes.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Jazakumullah khair for your kind words. My question is, what would be the next step as an outcome, the conclusive outcome of the discussion for this evening? Could you elaborate very briefly the outcome of the discussion today? What's the next few steps we should all take now?
Well, the 24-hour, instead of just remembering Allah for the 5 times salat and whatever we do, 24-hour be conscious, make the habit. We have to develop this habit that we remember Allah all the time. Remind ourselves. So as long as you are remembering Allah before you do any action, you will not make mistakes. That's the bottom line. That's the crux of the speech today. That all the time we should be conscious of Allah Ta'ala. See? Oh, sorry.
Any tips on how to make us God conscious all the time? What are practical steps to make us God conscious?
Well, the steps which I give, take every day, step by step. Make a mu'ayda, muraqaba, and muhasaba, and muaqiba. These are the steps on a daily life, inshallah. اللهم صل على سيدنا مولانا محمد وعلى ال سيدنا مولانا محمد وبارك وسلم. ربنا ظلمنا انفسنا وان لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. سبحان الله وبحمده سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.